the two ends of the value chain. I'll call it the extreme translation end and the pure new idea, blue sky idea generation end of the chain. How would you sell the first part, the idea generation end, to a taxpayer? What's the second part is quite obvious. What's the first part? What's the compelling argument there?
I'll give you I'll give you two answers. One of which is philosophical, idealistic, what you may. It's human.
Okay.
Cultivating deep thought is, or pursuing curiosity is a human endeavor. And great societies need to support human endeavors, right? Whether it is pursuing research, music, arts, it is part of that, right? It's part of, that's the philosophical answer. That's the kind of idealistic answer. It's a human endeavor. And I think it's a philosophical, probably not a useful answer, but it's an important one. Right? But the second answer, I think, is the practical question. Why should a society which has many needs, many immediate needs, put money in something where the returns are even unsuccessful? And I think the answer to that is, over a period of time, the payoff out of fundamental research is really hard to argue with, right? So we talk about AI, ML, and things like that, and that's creating so much value, or quantum computing, and that's creating so much value. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. It existed because of advances in mathematics, advances in silicon chips, which all goes back to kind of the post-World War tremendous advance in in understanding solid-state physics, right? I mean, so it is hard to draw a line into the future. And if I try to do it for fundamental questions we're asking now, we'll probably all get it wrong, right? Remember, Bell Labs sold off the transistor technology.
Sure.
Right? They didn't think it was a useful thing, right? So it's, again, you never predict what will relate to the heart, but that does not happen unless you had the base of fundamental research. You don't have the breakthroughs that you have unless you have this base of fundamental research. So putting it kind of in a, in kind of traditional farming context, it's a seed corn. It is, at least in the US, you call it the seed corn, right? It is what you keep for you might be hungry today, but you have to save a small piece for the future. And that is the investment in fundamental research, I think, from a society's point of view. And I think by any metric, if you integrate it over 30 years, it's hard to argue that the outcomes are really fantastic, right? So even just from an economic value point of view, if you integrate something over a long enough period of time, the value of fundamental research is fantastic. The investment is small, but the payoff is very high. So, and it's essential. The second part of the practical answer is it creates a workforce development, right? Part of the fact that in the modern university system, we mix research and training is, I think, a very useful thing that technology changes. It has always changed. The pace might have changed. Pace of change might be changing, but so you need educators to be to have a knowledge of what is going on. So this mixing of research and workforce development is very important. And I think that is another value of fundamental research. You don't have that. You cannot teach the same engineering over 30 years and be relevant. You have to create new classes, and that only happens if you have a institutional commitment or societal commitment to think about new things.